Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles. I was 13 years old when my world turned upside down. I came home to find my mother in bed with another man, not my father. I told my father and all hell broke loose. Yes, I slept with him, and you know what, it was good. I could hear my mother Maria shout at my dad, Roger Frederick. I can't believe what you have done. How could you do this to us? How could you be so selfish? Do you have any idea how much this hurts? I could hear the pain in his voice. Oh, it hurts. Give me a break. Don't try to guilt trip me. I am not sorry for what I did. I wanted it, and I did it. If you're so hurt with it, get out of here and just die. Not sorry? Maria, do you even realize the damage you've caused? Our marriage, our son, it's all shattered because of your actions. Don't put this all on me, Robert. Our marriage hasn't been perfect, and you know it. You don't appreciate me for my efforts and don't love me like I deserve. What have I not done? I break my back working for this family. I don't expect you to pamper me when I come home. You know why I've been busy at work. There is a mortgage on this house. There is the car, your vacations, damn it. I do not appreciate you. Is that your excuse for cheating, Maria? We promised to be faithful to each other, to work through our problems together. But I can't pretend to be happy when I'm not. She sneered. You can go ahead and say whatever you want, but it is your fault that we are poor. You should have saved enough before getting married to me. My boyfriend David is rich, handsome, and better lover than you. Maria, I don't know if I can forgive you for this. Forgive me, like I am asking to be forgiven. Who do you think you are, Jesus? This is not going to end well, Maria. You have broken my heart and my family. You did not even think of our son, Tim. What will he think of his mother? He will think fine. I will shower him with everything that he ever desires. PlayStation, Xbox, whatever he wants. So, you were trying to buy his love. Nice, all the best. That was the last line I heard that night. They did not stop that night. The arguments continued for the next 2 weeks. I did not know what was going on. I knew my mom was cheating on my dad. I met them at dinner only once since that fateful night. One night, my father came to my room. You okay, Tim? I haven't seen you much in the last 2 weeks. I'm okay, Dad. That voice does not sound okay. You think you can fool me? I am your dad. Don't try to fool me. Are you and Mom going to get separated? I have friends who have single parents. They're never happy. I don't want to be like them. Tim, I have never lied to you, so I am not going to lie today. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe we will fix things and stay together. But as of today, I do not see us together for long. I don't want to give you any false hope. I know it is hard, but I want you to be strong. You are someone who can define his own destiny, and I will always stand by you. Thanks, Dad. That was the last time I saw my dad in our house. Next morning while I was at school, my mother filed a restraining order against my dad, and a few weeks later she filed for divorce. It was only after 2 days that I got to know that she had accused Dad of physical abuse and he was in jail for 2 days. How could she do that to Dad? He has always loved her. He worked hard for her, for me. How could she lie? I called my father once he was out of jail. Dad, where are you? Are you all right? I'm okay. You good kid. I want to come to you. I don't want to live here. Mom had a guy in her room. She's a 304. Please take me away. Listen, Tim, I have to find a place to live and find a new job. Since your mom accused me of assault, I lost my job. I don't want you to get dragged around with me. Give me some time and let me get a new job. I'll try to bring you with me. Just stay strong. Well, the court did not let that happen. My father lost the house, lost my custody, and he now had to pay my witch mother alimony. I could not do anything. This said you were just a kid. You don't understand adult relations. I may not understand adult relations, but I know it was wrong to accuse my dad of something you never did. I know that a married woman should not go around sleeping around with other people. My mother won that day. She lost my love. She lost my respect. I decided that we'll never give her any respect, and I plan to leave house when I am 18. What did my mother do all this time? She brought her boy toy David home. He was a jerk. They worked at the same office and now used to leave and come home together, and at night they had sex. I used to dread going back to home. The sounds that they made at night was like the devil playing an untuned violin. All this while, Mom tried hard to get me eased up with David. But every time I saw him, I only saw the man who broke my family. Tim, David wants to take you out for fishing. It has been a long time that you have been out for vacation. I have to study. I said and left the room. Tim, David has a gift for you. He got a PlayStation. Thanks, but I don't have time for it. I need to go train. Dad paid for my jiu-jitsu classes. I don't want to sit in front of a dumb TV and waste my time. I said and left for my classes. Well, she tried for the next few years. I never spoke a word with David. I despised him. At nights he used to screw Mom and walk around the house naked. That was disgusting. I knew Mom was desperate for making David my new dad. But then I already have a dad. No one was replacing him. When I was 17, the world crashed again. My dad died. I knew he was working 2 jobs at the same time. He had to pay for me, And my 304 mom. At my father's funeral, my mom was standing with David and she shed 3 tears. I know 3 tears because I counted. The moment everyone left, she changed into the witch she was. That day I made a vow. I will make her pay. I will make David pay. At my 18th birthday, my mother wanted to take me out for my birthday. I refused like always. This time, however, David spoke to me and said, "Listen, kid, if your mom wants to take you out, you will say yes and go with her." I turned towards him and said, "Listen, Puck, when I talk to her, you will stay out. If you push your luck, it will end very bad for you. Unlike my father, I will tear your bowl out and shove them in your mouth." That made him lose his mind. He lunged at me. That was the best gift that he could give me. He was a bit taller and heavier than me. But as the saying goes, the heavier they are, the harder they fall. I easily took him down, and in seconds I was on top of him, raining punches and elbows. My mother tried to get in the middle and tried to grab me from behind and pull me off David. I let him go and brought a chair near him and sat on it. I slapped him 3 times and asked, "Hey, punk, what happened? You were just talk, no walk. You were just a bag of wind. Pathetic." I packed my bags and left the hall. Luckily, he did not file any charges on me. I already had secured an admission for my higher studies and my father had kept a college fund for me, so my education was not very difficult. I used to teach kids jiu-jitsu and that helped me with other funds. My mom used to call me and I allowed her some communication with me. That is only because my father had asked me to be nice to her. But I was still not done with her. 7 years later, I had my own jiu-jitsu training school and I was doing fine. I started dating a very nice woman, Kelly. She is a cop and used to take classes under me. I proposed her after a year of dating and she agreed. Finally, my story with my mom ended at my marriage. I did not invite her at my marriage. However, some of my relatives who were invited informed her and she soon landed at the venue. I knew she will be pissed off and will be there, so had planned exactly what to do. The wedding was going to start in 45 minutes and there was somebody yelling. A crasher, probably someone on the do not let in list. We didn't know if it was going to happen, but we prepared for it. My friend came running up to us and said his mother Maria and the husband David are at the door demanding to be let in. I told them that they weren't on the invite list, but she's really screaming. I turned to my future father-in-law and said, "It's showtime. Are you ready?" In reply, I got an evil smile while he nodded yes. Then he said, "I'll gather all the guests that are here now to the wedding room. When enough of the important people are here, we'll start." He nodded and left to confront my mother. Approaching the entrance, several of his friends and Kelly's cop buddies were holding the 2 people back. My mother Maria looked a bit more plump than the pictures we had of her. The husband David looked thinner, more gaunt. "You have to let me in. I'm the mother of the groom. Just tell my son that I'm here." That's when David tried pushing one of the groomsmen to the side. Wrong move. Within 5 seconds, David was tasting the floor with 2 of my cop friends restraining him painfully. Maria was in shock and started screaming when she heard Miranda rights being read to her husband while handcuffs were being placed on him. She quickly realized that John, my father-in-law, was in charge and started giving him shit. He held his hand up and said, "Excuse me, would you also like to be arrested for interfering with police business? It's bad enough that we have a battery of a police officer." She broke in, "You're cops." This one was not very bright. "Harry, did you call in the squad?" He said. "Yes." Then he turned to Maria. "What can I do for you, lady?" "Who are you?" "I want to see my son Timothy." "First off, I'm Officer John Dombrowski of this fine suburb. Second off, you were specifically not invited to the wedding. My daughter Kelly is getting married to Timothy. If you do not leave, I will ask these fine police officers to arrest you. And like your husband, we'll have to post bail to get out." He paused and with a very professional smile, "Any questions?" She pleaded, "I want to see my son. Please let me see my son." He looked at her in her pain. It didn't move him. He was aware of the pain she fostered on my father and me. No, this was payback time. Finally, he looked down at her and said, "I'll talk to him. Wait here." No promises. He walked away looking for me. Maria was led to a chair in the front of the room where everyone could look at her face. It was like a witness chair at a trial. Actually, it was her witness chair at her trial. Maria was so uncomfortable there with family and friends staring at her like she was in a cage at the zoo. Waiting another 5 minutes, I entered and walked directly to my mother Maria. "You were not invited. You were not wanted. I know that we had some problems, but I'm your mother. I did it all for you." I broke in. "When did you first meet David?" Mother Maria started to stammer and changed the question. I repeated it louder. "When did you first meet David?" "It was after the divorce and—" Bullshit. The entire room became quiet. Her mother was shocked into silence. There was a look of fear on her face. I went to the box where we had stored some printed handouts. It was over $75 in printing costs and worth every penny. With a nod from me, a friend started to pass out the handouts to everyone sitting in the row. When each person saw the handout, their face changed dramatically. Those from my mother's side were shocked. Those from my father's side smiled and laughed. I stared down my mother. About 7 years ago, I was 13 years old and came home from school early. I saw a strange car in the garage and I heard noises in the house. This is what I saw. I tossed a set of the dated handouts at my mother. I took these pictures. Remember, that was the only year that you were blonde and your hair was cut short. That was 3 months before the divorce. That was 2 months before you refused to go to counseling and kicked my father out of our house. You did it all for me. You did it all for you. You didn't give a shit about anybody but you. And to make matters worse, you trumped up charges on Dad and kept getting him tossed in jail, or the lawyers put him up against the wall until you got everything in the divorce. Your father was having an affair. My father was working 2 physically demanding jobs to help us make ends meet and to get ahead. You didn't have the time or the energy. That's another big lie. Who told you he is having an affair? What evidence did you have? Out with it. My mother's eyes became downcast. That's right. More lies, more bullshit. Problem is, I know where you heard that. David. It was David, your a-hole husband. He kept telling you, didn't he? Don't lie to me. I heard him, time and time again. Well, he's yours now forever. Unless the money runs out and he finds somebody new. By the way, has he been getting home right away from work every evening? Or is he starting to work late again? Just like he did with Dad. There was a shock of recognition on her face. The looks on the people sitting there ranged from amusement to shock. I knew that my goals were now met. I exposed my mother, took her down, and after Maria hung herself with her own words, I wasn't going to let my mother defend herself in any way. What was the point? Took her down in front of everybody that was somebody in their life. It was time to end this. A friend broke back and we have a wedding to be part of. Thank you, Maria. This is the best wedding present you could have given us. By the way, David is being put in a squad now. If you hurry, you'll be able to see him before he's booked. You might even be able to borrow his phone to call for bail. I paused to exhibit my wonderful acting skills, or check his phone for messages and texts. Bingo, the lights in her eyes shone. By the way, you shouldn't have assaulted a police officer. In front of 2 different cameras too. I pointed directly into my mother's face. Get out of my life. Live with the evil you did. Maria started to say something, but I cut her off. Don't bother. It's all bullshit. You're all bullshit. Always have been. Always will be. Be gone and don't darken my doorstep again. I motioned to my buddies to escort her from the venue. They complied, leading a shell-shocked 52-year-old to her future. As I hugged my bride-to-be, we got a round of applause. The applause was from both sides. Maria was a piece of work. She burned a lot of bridges over the years. They may not have known that she had an affair with David while they both were married to someone else, but they detested the way she treated my father. I swear that I heard a hawker being lobbed as Maria went out the door. As she was being escorted out the door, I thought I saw my dad standing at the door. I wish it was him. He must be smiling from heaven. As the clapping continued, my friend tapped me on my shoulder and he spoke into my ear. Was a-hole actually seeing somebody else after work? Nah, he's working a side job to help make ends meet. I just wanted to mess with their heads for a while. They may or may not survive it. Don't really care. Payback's a witch, you know. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.